road safety expert from Mobility Engineering, back again for another Q&A video. Thank you very much for sending in those questions. We love those questions. We love answering them. We love making these videos, so keep them coming in. And as I always say, with my trusty subscribe pillow, which I need to remember not to throw away because I need it for this video, please hit that button that looks a bit like this down there somewhere, and please help us get to that 1,000 subscribers mark, and we will basically keep loving you, I guess, and also keep those videos coming. All right, so let's get on to today's question, and I'm going to keep my pillow here for today's question because it's relevant. So today's question comes again from our occupational therapist community. We love that community, and basically what we've got is a client is an adult that is using an adult seatbelt like this, perfectly fine as per the road rules. This particular client needs to use a special cushion on their lap for postural support. It's a support cushion. It's a U-shaped cushion, and they basically put their arms on the cushion and it helps them support their back. The cushion is a high-density foam cushion and weighs about 3 kilograms, and it's just a loose cushion just like that. And the question they've asked is, am I allowed to use that? Is there any road rules or any legal implications for using that? And there in fact is. So from a perspective of vehicle modifications and vehicle rules, there is actually no rules around that. The rules are around drivers and around road rules and basically around your licensing. So we teamed up with the Roads and Maritime Services and also with the National Road Rules Authority, and we had a look at all of the road rules, and we found that in road rule number 292, which we'll put a link to below, there is actually very clear guidelines. Well, when I say clear guidelines, there is a defined road rule for these type of items or unsecured loads in your vehicle. However, the guidelines are not super clear. They're a little bit vague. So I'm going to run through them and the road rules, and then we're going to give you our interpretation and our recommendations on them. So, thinking about our 3 kilo support cushion, this is just sitting there on our lap. So this would be classified as an insecure load, right, inside the vehicle. And what the road rule says is that a driver must not drive a vehicle or tow a vehicle that is carrying a load that is 1, not properly secured to the vehicle, 2, placed in a way that causes the vehicle to be unstable, or 3, projects from the vehicle in any way that can cause injury or harm to other occupants within the vehicle or outside of the vehicle. So basically, as I said, it's a bit vague, but A and C, or 1 and 3, are the ones that affect us. So it basically, you must not drive the vehicle if the vehicle is carrying a load that is not properly secured to the vehicle, and 2, it projects in a way that it could cause an injury to somebody, right? So based on that road rule, it's a bit vague, and you could basically kind of say, well, this is a load and it's a light cushion, and technically it's not legal for me to even have that on my lap. And it is sort of could be read that way, but you could also read it another way as well, right? So and you can read it multiple angles. So throughout our, and we've got other videos around this as well with the seat backs and so on, throughout our experience of dealing with multiple other standards, what we've found and we've come up with is a general rule of thumb of 2 kilograms. So what we've found is, and this is actually drawn from another standard, which is to do with Australian standards for baby seats and child restraints. So in that Australian standard, what they say is if you've got a load that is used in this environment with restraints and so on, so basically a baby seat that is any more than 2 kilograms, you need to restrain it. So this is set by a big standards committee, and they're from people from all around the country, experts, and they've determined that anything over 2 kilos can cause a harm. And it makes sense because in the event of an accident, you can have around about a 20 times increase in your load. So let's say if you've got a 3 kilo load, that can turn into 60 kilos flying into the vehicle. So in the case of your cushion, what we would recommend is that because it's over 2 kilos, we would recommend that you have some way of securing it to the vehicle, whether it's a Velcro strap or some kind of strap that's sewn into it that it just ties it to the vehicle so it doesn't go flying off and hit someone at 20 times or 30 times the load at 60 or 90 kilos into somebody's head, right? So that's what we would recommend. And the other thing we would recommend is basically ensuring it's basically used in a way that is not going to cause those injuries. So when it is not being used, when it is being used and used in a support manner and tethered down, that's great. But when it's not being used, it's either placed in the boot of the vehicle or not kept in the vehicle because it's also a projectile, right? So those last bits that we're talking about in terms of tethering it and keeping it in the boot and those things, those are Mobility Engineering's opinion and our recommendation based on what we've read of the road rules. The road rules is a bit vague. It just says any unsecured load must be secured and mustn't be basically presented in the vehicle in a way that could cause injury. But as I said, that's a little bit vague, so if you wanted a bit more direction, we would recommend anything over 2 kilograms needs to be tethered, needs to be tied into the vehicle, and when it's not being used, it's basically put in a part of the vehicle that effectively it's away from the passenger transport area. So hopefully that helps. Thank you very much for those questions coming in. Keep those questions coming in, and as I always say, hit that pillow, the button that looks a bit like that pillow down there somewhere, and we'll see you next time.